All right. So, guys, I'm working on some stuff. I know the mic came in a little low and soft yesterday, the day before. Working on that, and I don't. It may actually be the cable that I have to replace, but I know part of it is I definitely need to be able to get closer to the mic. So, anyway, working on that. But hey, it's Firearms Friday, and looks like Fish and Golf has first blood. But I see Trish and Thomas Waller's with us, and Danny is with us as well. So let's y'all let's do a show. All right, good morning. All right. So, couple things, little housekeeping first thing this morning. Uh Went and had lunch yesterday with the Pollock and picked up the machine guns. See the 249 and the 240 Bravo are in the studio now. Yes, sir. Uh I I'm not sure exactly where to put them as far as set dressing goes for now. They're just kind of taking up a little space for now. And I want them to be more prominent, but I also have to figure out where I'm going to put the Barrett because kind of sitting in the trailer for now because I don't have room on the wall for it. Anyway, but it was good to sit down and visit with Zaluska, old friend, good friend, and talk about some stuff. And then, of course, it's Firearms Friday, so what better time to be putting the 240 and the 249 up on the wall. It's good to have them back. Oh, that said, Firearms Friday, we got some DGUs. Now, normally, I go to a few different places to find my DGUs. I go to, there is a subreddit that links to a lot of different articles and places. Uh, I'll search, I'll search various, Google, DuckDuckGo, Result Hunter, for things like just headlines that pop and scream DGU. But this morning, I'm taking 5 stories from Concealed Nation. And, excuse me, and I'm doing that on purpose because one, I spent a little time having to rearrange stuff and actually had to pull some screws and it wasn't just shifting stuff around. I had to do a little bit of work in here. And for 2, I want to give a shout out to somebody who's doing good work. Now, this is Concealed Nation. This is their about page. Having it started in January 2013, Concealed Nation has grown to the largest concealed carry website in the world, with a primary focus of promoting responsible concealed carry. It has helped many on their journey to successfully implementing the carrying of firearms into their daily lives. So that's concealednation.org. And like I said, I'm using them this morning because I wanted to give them a shout out. They started in 2013. That's around the same time we started doing the Brushfire Mind. And if those of you who've been watching for a long time, real long time, you'll remember that when we first kicked off, we did the show once a month. It was a panel show with between 4 and 8 panel speakers per week. Back in the early days, it was a little messy. We were using Google Hangout, and everybody but me and maybe one other Most of them were just calling in on their phones, and it was, we got what we got. Um, we've come a long way since then to being a morning show, a daily show, and of course, back then in the early start, the original idea was, hey, if a bunch of us just sit here and run our mouths, then we'll come up with clips, and the clips ended up being just less functional than we had hoped, and a little less organic than we had hoped. And of course, not everybody can do every day. But I've been doing the daily morning show now for, God, a long damn time. I actually don't remember when we first started with the daily, but I want to say it was 2015 that we went to daily. That can't be right. It's been a hot damn minute. I think we're not quite at 10 years, but we're getting close to it with the daily. And that has been every day, every weekday, 7:30, with very few misses. And most of those misses have been, hey guys, we got a thing coming up. We're gonna be at this car show, we're gonna be at this veterans event, or I'm having my ears cut off and stapled back on. Because shit happens. But it's been a good run, and I don't mean to say that like it's been a good run, and now we're closing it. No. It's been a good run, and we intend to keep on running. But today being Firearms Friday, I want to bring you guys back around to one. There are several reasons we do this, right? One, the Second Amendment is the linchpin. It is the thing that has kept us from becoming Britain, right? You can look at the UK right now. There are riots going on. We've had riots in the US, but in the UK right now, there are riots going on because the hostile foreign invaders are raping and murdering children and being ignored, right? There's this narrative there's this through line of narrative that keeps coming out. Oh no, well if you look at the official government statistics, then you'll see that like 80% of all the rapes are committed by white men in the UK. That's interesting that the government statistic would reflect that. That's very interesting. That's contrary to the official statistics of every other developed or underdeveloped nation on the planet. And oh, that's right. The complaint is that the government is under enforcing this crime when it's being committed by the hostile foreign invader. So that narrative that, oh well, no, 80% of the rapes are committed by white men in the UK. No. The complaint is that the reason that one of the primary reasons that they're rioting is the government is refusing to record, let alone enforce the law when the hostile foreign invaders form rape gangs. Oh, and by the way, one of the ways they do this is when 30 Muslims rape a little white blonde girl, they write down that a rape occurred. They don't write down that 30 men committed it together. They don't record the statistic that way. That's what's happening in the UK. And that's not happening here. And I want to be very careful about suggesting that, about straying into the lane where it sounds like I'm suggesting vigilante justice. But in part, crime is different in the US because of the fact that citizens are armed, right? And we see it over and over and over again. The lefties like to say that the US is one of the top nations in the world for gun violence. And oh, But turns out if you take the five cities that have the most strict gun laws in the country, and remove those from the reporting, we're smack at the bottom. It really is that simple. The gun crime occurs where the citizen is disarmed. All of it. The British, let's see. Oh, Xander says, you know your nation's pretty far gone when native-born Brits have Mideast accents. Alex, I forget the name of the town where Tommy Robbins is from, but one of the statistics that was just mind-blowing is that this was a couple of years ago that it was reported that Muhammad was the #1 most popular new baby boy name in a British city. Oh, really? And y'all, I can tell you from having served in a Muslim country, Afghanistan, Muhammad, everybody's first name is Muhammad. Like it's, you tell them apart by their middle names: Muhammad Faiz, Muhammad Aziz, Muhammad etc. Right? Until you get to the Hajis, and then it's Haji Lala, it's Haji Hormuz, it's Haji this. And Haji Ghani, the Afghan Batman. Anyway. But yeah, you know your nation's pretty far gone when native-born Brits have Mideast accents. That's alarming, right? We should be very concerned anytime you're seeing signs in your cities, in your American cities, that are in other than English, right? With the exception of a very localized, like little Chinatown, little Koreatown, something like that. If you're seeing whole cities, that are catering entirely to an immigrant population, that's a major concern. Now, in fairness, like your little Koreatowns, those guys are coming over. Waller, you laugh about the name Haji Lala. I don't know if you knew him. I don't know if you knew him or if you think I was being funny. But he was an interesting character. We've worked with him a lot, and then before I left, we finally had to put him down. But he was one of those playing both sides power brokers guys. And I'll grant, Haji Lala's cook, he fried the shit out of a chicken. A mean fried chicken. I'm not even playing with you. That was in fact his name. Yes. So that's Tommy Gunn. I love it. Tommy Gunn. I've got an airsoft Chicago typewriter, right? Thompson M1 M1A1 out in the gun trailer. It's over there with the AKs and the Barrett, but it needs to get up on the wall. So I don't know where I'm going to fit it. Maybe in that hole just up there over the 240 Bravo, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, Tommy Gunn says Detroit is Chirac, and you're right. So let's get a few DGUs in here. And this one, okay. Caveat. Because I saw the photo with this one, I went ahead and read into it a little bit, because sometimes I don't want to get thrown off of YouTube every time I do a show. But so I did read into this one a little bit. I will not be as surprised for the first time as I usually like to be reading these with you guys. But you'll see what I mean when I show you the picture. Yeah, I had to read into it a little bit and say, okay, what's going on here? before I brought this one up on the screen. But here we go. The headline says, heroic teacher rescues 15-year-old from assault in Houston. That's Houston, Texas, not Houston, Georgia. So in Houston, and this is from Concealed Nation by way of KHOU. So it's the reporting comes from a Houston local TV station. Houston, Texas, a middle school teacher from Houston is being recognized for his heroic actions after saving a teenage girl from an attacker. Now, y'all saw the shot, right? They've got the blur over him. There's a dark space here. It looks clearly like he's wearing like boxer shorts or something like that. I ain't gonna lie, guys. Early in the morning or late at night, or frankly, anytime I'm around the house and not on camera, there's a high degree probability I'm in a pair of shorts and maybe flip-flops or Crocs. Of course, where I live, there's a dramatically lower probability that there's going to be an assault out in front of my house. So a middle school teacher from Houston is being recognized for his heroic actions after saving a teenage girl from an attacker in East Houston. The dramatic incident, captured on video, unfolded just before midnight on July 28th. Investigators have released an image of the suspect, who was seen wearing a black hoodie and a white Reebok logo, blue jeans, and white tennis shoes. Anyone with information about the suspect's identity or whereabouts is urged to contact Crime Stoppers. Unfortunately, apparently he doesn't have a tag in his shoulder. You know, a big red one. The incident occurred when a 15-year-old girl got off a metro bus near an apartment complex on Wood Forest Boulevard, located just north of I-10 between Normandy Street and Uvalde Road. Jesus Christ. Okay. The thing happened at a place, but a 15-year-old girl, as she walked, she was followed and subsequently attacked by a man. David, the teacher who intervened, responded immediately upon hearing the girl's cries for help. I looked out the window and saw a man assaulting a woman on the ground. We've actually got the video, which includes the
on KHOU 11 News tonight. We are hearing from a
So I'll go ahead and share this with you. It's a 2.5-minute video. I think we're good.
Good Samaritan who helped save a teenager from being sexually assaulted. Investigators say the victim was followed after getting off a public bus. Aniele Ruiz has the hero story and the ongoing search for the attacker in.
So here we go.
It's dramatic video of David jumping out of his apartment into action after he said he heard a young girl yelling for help.
I looked out the window and I saw a man beating up a woman on the ground, and he was trying to take her clothes off.
David tells me he didn't think twice to go and get his gun.
I ran upstairs, I grabbed my pistol, and then I came outside and I asked what's going on. And the girl screamed, "I'm 15, help me." So I pointed my gun at him.
We've paused the surveillance video to prevent from showing the 15-year-old victim, but you can hear and see when David confronts the suspect. David said he had the young girl by the hair.
Took his hands off her right away, and he went chasing after her, so I went chasing after him, and she got away. She went to someone she knew apartment.
One neighbor tells us what she saw from her window.
At first I was scared because I literally thought she was about to get raped. I think if he didn't come out, she probably would have got raped or something.
Harris County Sheriff investigators shared this picture of the suspect. They tell us the 15-year-old girl was on the bus with him.
So they caught his image from the security camera on the bus. I mean, it's a damn pity that he got away, but I'd much rather see the bad guy get away than get away with it, right? It's one thing that he escaped. So far, he has escaped justice, but without having completed the evil acts. And you know what? I gotta get after these badges, because that brother deserves that young teacher. He deserves a badge. If you know, we've got his full name here. I think is David Garza. So yeah, I might have to, if I can find him, if I can make contact with David, I'll try to send him a white hat, because I mean that's legit hero work right there. And I mean that's all I got for him right now. Top comment. Sergeant Major says hoodie and hot weather equals crime. Yes. Yes, it does. Uh, suspicious clothing generally. Like, okay, so there was the attempted assassination on Donald Trump earlier. I was watching, on the 13th. So it's been almost a month. And you talk about suspicion, right? A not abnormally large young man managed to carry a rifle through a secure area to take a position. There was an FBI agent, or former FBI agent, who was doing an interview where he talked about his experience with concealment of long guns like that. And there's, the excuse from the Secret Service, right? Oh, it had a collapsible stock. And we've learned our lesson, right? We don't pick up the weapons for demonstration on the show. But if you look at the rack behind me, you can see there are rifles here with collapsible stocks, and you don't have to look real hard to say, oh, that collapsible stock only shortens that rifle by 3 to 4 inches, right? That's still difficult to conceal. And like the FBI agent was saying, he had seen one guy that he followed and tailed that could do it and did do it. He would conceal an AR. It was a short barrel AR with a collapsible buttstock, and he was able to do it because he would wear a big overcoat, and he was 6'8" and 380 pounds of dude. He was the one that this FBI agent in a long career saw that could conceal carry a long gun without it just being painfully obvious that something was off here, right? I mean, honestly, I'm 6.5 feet tall. I'm a big dude, and I'd have a hard time trying to sneak one of those around under a jacket without printing or walking funny, right? And that's coming from somebody who spent a lot of time just carrying a rifle around. Generally, I've never carried a rifle concealed. I can't think of a reason to do that. But Danny says he can conceal a small car. Danny, hey, ask my Uncle Steve. I hope he's still got the photograph. When I attempt to drive the little Porsche Boxster convertible, the car is effectively concealed just by the fact that I'm sitting in it. Oh, I look like a cartoon character out of like Mario Kart or something. Fat man in a little coat. Yeah, it's that kind of a situation. But yeah, so heroic teacher rescues 15-year-old girl from assailant. Props to the man too. There's something to be learned there. He came out of the house in his underwear because this is a serious emergency, life or death type situation. Your modesty is irrelevant. What is the condition you're in? Get there, do it. And I can say that not just as a general piece of advice, but imagine you're deployed in an active war zone, right? You would think that in those conditions that you are very intentional about everything. So if you're about to walk into a gunfight, even if you're getting ambushed, it's while you're on patrol. So you are in body armor, right? You're wearing Kevlar, you're wearing sappy plates, you've got your ruck, right? You got bandolier ammunition, your rifle's ready to rock and roll, your sidearms ready to rock and roll, right? Yeah, except here's the thing. In the year on the ground, my man, you sleep from time to time. You shower from time to time. You take that kit off and do push-ups and pull-ups and sit-ups and run on the elliptical machine. You do PT, right? you don't spend 365 days in body armor with your rifle on your chest. You don't. So believe it or not, shit happens sometimes. I've got a scar on my right leg. I've got a scar on my right leg that I sustained in the middle of an indirect fire attack, mortar attack. It was late at night, in blackout conditions. So, new moon, no lights on, near total light discipline, but we had a smoke pit, right? So I was out smoking a cigarette when IDF came over, indirect fire, mortar came over the wall, blew up, and I turned around to grab my rifle, right? It was the middle of the night. I was about to go to bed. So I was in like PT shorts and a t-shirt and flip-flops when I turned around, and this is how I was injured in the mortar attack. I took a tent post, a tent stake to the right shin, and it was miserable. And after I pulled the stake out of my shin, then I got up on the wall and returned fire on the enemy, and that was. By the way, if you're gonna fire mortars in the dark, if your backblast area sets the dry grass behind you on fire, get away from that position. Leave there. Go. Just piece of advice, because I guarantee you I'm gonna light that shit up. I've seen me do it. And then you go and seek medical attention. Then you go and wrap your wounded leg up. You go and you put you squeeze your tube of super glue in there so you can get back to the dock at the bigger fob. Cool. But the point is, when the shit hits the fan, you are in the condition you are in. Right? You hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. And sometimes it just bees that way. Sometimes you are hanging out in your drawers and the 155's popping off. So let's do the next one. Tobacco store owner shoots robber dead. 2 others arrested. Man, that already sounds like one of these. DRTL. Okay, you know what? Before we even get into this one, that already reminds me of all those wonderful stories where some smart dude decides to go in and rob like a liquor store in Texas or Georgia, or, I mean, look at this place. Look at this place. This joint, this screams either rednecks or roof Koreans. Right? And let me tell you something. Roof Koreans, the Jibung Hangguks, those are not the ones with whom to fuck. This place screams armed occupants. Right? I mean, just look at the bars on the window. Right? Look at the bars on the front of the building. This is a place that expects to get robbed. Right? They are ready for you, son. You have chosen poorly. It reminds me of we saw the one story, we covered this one several years ago, where dude goes into this gas station in like East Texas, pulls out a gun and demands that the cashier hand over all the money. And as soon as that smoke wagon cleared leather, the cashier had drawn a pistol, and there were like 4 or 5 other dudes in there. Like 3 of them were just normal citizens, and 1 or 2 of them were actual cops, like plainclothes cops or off-duty cops. But it was 6 or 7 other people in the building with the guy as he pulled that pistol and demanded all the money. And every one of them they just didn't hesitate. They all drew and opened fire on the guy. They put, they may have only squeezed the trigger once a piece, and they still put more rounds in his ass than he brought to the party. So I see a little banter happening in the chat over here, and His Majesty said, "Hey sis," and I see a new name that I haven't noticed before and don't recognize, so I won't say the name out loud, but it's good to know who you are, and and I appreciate you watching in the morning. And I have noticed that you've sent me a couple of messages on Facebook. I've been busy as a squirrel trying to shit a pineapple lately, you know, setting this up and running around. But I'm glad to see you watching in the morning, and we always love to have family watching the show. Thanks for tuning in. And if you say something about it, then I'll start calling you by name on occasion when I see you. But thanks for tuning in and welcome to the show. So let's see what happened. Dad told me I need to keep the show to a half an hour in the future, and I think I'm going to try to. But we've only done one DGU this morning because I had so much other shit to talk to you guys about. So here we go. Norwalk, California. No. Oh no. Oh, he thought he was safe. But I mean, the bars, man. The bars. Norwalk, California. Business owner in Norwalk, California opened fire on 3 burglary suspects. Three of them targeting his tobacco store on Tuesday morning. The incident occurred around 9 a.m. in the 1900 block of East Firestone Boulevard, according to Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. The store owner's partner was pepper sprayed by one of the suspects, prompting the owner to grab his firearm and shoot, hitting one of the intruders. Hitting one of the intruders. After their getaway car was blocked in, all 3 suspects fled on foot. The suspect who was shot was found in a nearby alleyway. He was taken to the hospital but later died from his injuries, according to the sheriff's department. His identity has not been released. Authorities set up a perimeter in the neighborhood to capture the remaining suspects. Both were located and taken into custody. So nobody got away. One bad guy down. Victory. Sergeant Major says, I can't imagine pulling the trigger only once in a defensive situation. Agreed. If I have a hard time imagining pulling the trigger only once on an active target in any situation other than a sniper maneuver. Okay, that's when it's really one shot, one kill. We train, we say one shot, one kill, but as a practical matter in active combat, if you're firing at an enemy, you shoot until you're sure. Right? I don't care how good you are. You shoot until you're sure. And I mean, it's been a while. It's been a while since I was in an actual gunfight, but you know, I still go to the range. I still sling some lead down the yard from time to time. I'm still quite good, but I'm not. I'm certainly not what I was when I was 30 and chasing terrorists around the desert. But even me, I'm, like I said, I'm pretty good. I mean, I was a 40 out of 40 qual guy. Yeah. I mean, one round might do the trick, but am I certain? No. So, yeah, unless it's an act, you're actually doing sniper work. Mozambique, baby. But honestly, you start talking about self-defense. I want to be real careful about how I talk about that in that context. So I'm just going to say I agree. I cannot imagine pulling the trigger only once in a self-defense situation. It doesn't make sense, especially with 3 targets. But I know you're actually making reference back to the liquor store robbery that I was talking about a minute ago, old man, and that's fun. So Megan says, "Hey man, victory, Masters of the Universe." Wow, there's one. That's one of those movies that's so bad you just have to go back and watch it again every now and then. I try not to watch it more than once every 10 years. So, all right. But you know what? Masters of the Universe reference, that deserves a top comment. Mostly because, good morning, and I can push that button anytime I want. Remember that. Okay. So I think we're going to do one more, and then I'm going to go ahead and put a pin in it because I'm about to run out of hot coffee. So, armed citizen shoots man who attacked him with metal pipe. Woof. What? Push the button. There we go. Oh, I see what happened. Got it. Okay, armed citizen shoots man who attacked him with metal pipe. U-Haul truck, concealed nation. A violent incident in San Mateo involved a man being really another violent crime in California. Hello. Who? Somebody has flooded my screen with emojis. What just happened there? I don't believe I created that. That was interesting. Okay, I don't know what happened there, but okay. A confrontation. I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch this stream just to see if I can figure out what that was all about. Cause, okay, it wasn't this comment, was it? It wasn't like automatic. No, because I don't have a button for it. All right. Anyway, a confrontation in San Mateo escalated into a violent encounter on Friday when a man was attacked with a metal pipe before retaliating with gunfire. The incident occurred around 8 a.m. near the intersection of 19th Avenue and Grant Street. So, apparently California is just having problems. His Majesty says Tommy Gunn did that. Did he? How? Inform me. Gotcha. Okay. Anyway. According to the San Mateo Police Department, the altercation began when the suspect drove to the location in a U-Haul truck and engaged in a verbal argument with the victim. As the argument intensified, the suspect returned to the truck, retrieved a metal pipe, and began assaulting the victim. The victim sustained multiple injuries to his head and arms from the pipe attack. Hold on. The suspect was in the U-Haul. In an act of self-defense, the victim then pulled out a .22 caliber pistol and shot the suspect. So 22, so no DRT. Despite his injuries, the suspect managed to return to the U-Haul, reverse the vehicle, and attempt to run over the victim. Holy shit, man. However, instead of hitting the victim, the suspect crashed into the victim's car. Oh dear. The suspect fled the scene but was later found at a hospital in Palo Alto where he is being treated for gunshot wounds and is expected to survive. The victim, who was also hospitalized due to the injuries inflicted by the metal pipe, has since been released. The incident highlights the unpredictable nature of confrontations and the potential for escalation into violence. Responsible firearm ownership is the importance of being armed and prepared are crucial in such situations. So, Tommy Gunn asks, how many states have the castle law? You know what, Tommy, I don't actually know. We're up now, I believe, to 28 with constitutional carry, but I'm not sure how many have castle doctrine. So I will look that up. Later. So I'm making a note so that I look it up later. And we'll talk about it maybe next Friday. Make sure you're back here for next Friday. Have castle doctrine. So we'll look that up later. So, all right, I am going to go ahead and put a pin in it there. Looks like the bad guy survived in that case, and it's yeah, don't road rage. It's stupid. Don't do it. In fact, that's your safety brief. Don't drive drink, don't fry bacon naked, and y'all, just keep driving. I mean, obviously, don't flee the scene of an accident or yada yada yada. Just no. Tommy. Okay, so Tommy Gunn says from Canada, we cannot defend ourselves at no cost. Tommy, I look up the BFM on X, on Twitter, and send me a PM, and maybe we can talk offline. I would love to get somebody with that perspective and have a conversation about it, because my expectation with you watching this show is, and you saying that you're from Canada, I assume that you would prefer Canada have laws more like those in the United States, which is a whole conversation in and of itself. But what you're describing, in Canada, we cannot defend ourselves at no cost. New Jersey is one of the most notorious places for this. In New Jersey, the law imposes an undue burden upon the citizen, which they refer to as a duty to retreat. So basically, if you're at 3 stories or lower and a window exists, you are required to jump out of that window before you fire on a home invader who has stated they intend to murder you, right? And that might be a little hyperbolic, but just barely. That's how it works in New Jersey. In places like where I live in Georgia, you don't just have a license to kill people when you're on your private property, but you do enjoy a substantial benefit of the doubt, or at least in theory you should, under the law, if you're put in a position where you have to defend yourself against a home invader in Georgia. And that's a whole conversation. That's not something I can wrap up in the last couple minutes of a show, obviously. I'm sure you understand that. I'm not suggesting that you wouldn't already know that. But that's, yeah. So yeah, look us up on Twitter, on X, and send me a message, and maybe we could chat offline and even do a show about that question. Speaking of chatting offline, I have y'all can see I got the stickers back on. Because like y'all know we moved. I'm still unpacking boxes, and so there's some boxes that may never get unpacked. But I found my roll of Brushfire Mine stickers, and I've got a shitload of them. I've got way more, just because the price was right. I've got way more than I'm ever actually going to use, try as I might. So, for those of you who are watching this morning, with a very few exceptions, like Danny, don't you bother. Just call me and I'll meet you somewhere, or we can do lunch or something. Just say when. But if you wanna message me, if you want to send me a PM, X is probably the best place to do that. Send me a message and let me know. Give me somewhere I can send it to. And for those of you watching right now live, I'll send you a sticker if you want one. So that the offer's out there. That said, that's all I got for this morning. So thanks for watching. We love you, and we will see you on Monday. I always do this on Friday because it's on a different screen, but there it is.